Hello, and welcome to Santa Fe Senior Fit. I'm Gary Schneider. Today we're going to talk about weight management and exercise. Obesity is the fastest growing health problem in America. In fact, obesity has more than tripled since 1975. 72% of adults over the age of 20 are either considered overweight or obese, with 40% being obese. To determine if you're a healthy weight, overweight, or obese, you can figure this by measuring your body mass index, or BMI, which is based on your height. To do this, you take the number 703 times your weight, you divide it by your height in inches, and you square that number. So for me, for example, I take the number 703 times my weight. I'm 170 pounds. I divide that number by my height. I'm 5'10", which is 70 inches. Squaring that number is 4,900, which gives me a body mass index of 24.3. So to determine your classification, a BMI of anything under 18.5 is considered underweight. 18.5 to 24.9 is a healthy weight. 25 to 29.9 is considered overweight. A BMI of 30 to 34.9 is considered obese. 35 to 39.9 is considered obese 2, and anything greater than a 40 BMI is considered obese 3. For obesity, you should start out to expend 200 to 300 calories per exercise session with a weekly minimum goal of 1,200 calories of energy expenditure. So that's 200 to 300 per day with a weekly minimum of 1,200 calories per week, with hopefully a little bit more than that. You want to progress to eventually 500 calories per day of energy expenditure through a combination of reducing the calories you eat and increasing the calories you burn through exercising, which is 1 pound per week. This adds up to 3,500 calories per week, the number of calories in about 1 pound of fat. So again, you want to eventually get to 500 calories a day of expenditure with a goal then that would equal 3,500 per week. A heart rate monitor is one of the best ways to measure your calorie burn. Your heart rate indicates how much effort it takes you to do a certain activity, and that effort determines the calories you burn. If your heart rate monitor indicates your calorie burn, it's more likely to be accurate than the average activity tracker because it takes into account your specific heart rate. Okay, now we're going to talk about nutrition, water, and sleep. The most important point, I think, for losing weight is you have to first focus on proper nutrition. You can't lose weight unless you do. I've seen people lose weight with zero exercise by changing what and how they eat. I've also seen people in the gym that are overweight that have been working out for years. You have to limit the portions, cut out sugar, saturated fats, and junk food. Choose good proteins such as chicken, fish, turkey, and the occasional beef. You should consume 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. You also need a good mix of starchy carbs such as potatoes and rice, and fibrous carbs such as beans, peas, avocados, and broccoli, and some fruit as well. And you probably didn't know that water consumption is an important factor in losing weight. Water can increase your metabolism by 30%. And when you do that, you burn more calories. Drinking a lot of water is not fun, but if you're serious about losing weight, you need to consume 0.5 to 0.75 ounces of water per pound of body weight. For me, at 170 pounds, that would be 85 to about 100 ounces of water per day. And finally, the next factor is your sleep. You need to get adequate sleep of 7 to 8 hours a night. Adequate sleep is so important in regulating hunger and satiety hormones, and chronic sleep deprivation is detrimental for weight management. Next, I want to talk about mindset. If you're serious about losing weight, you have to go into this with the right mindset. You have to be committed to losing the weight and eating properly. Diets don't help long term with weight loss because eventually you go off the diet. You need to restructure your life and how you go about eating and living for your own health and longevity. So now I want to talk a little bit about exercise. But before I do, I want to address two important factors as it relates to exercise: intensity and duration. They're very two important factors to understand. Low intensity exercises burn more fat, but less calories. And with low intensity, those exercises need to be for a longer duration. You can't just go in for 20, 30 minutes. They need to be a lot longer. Moderate to high intensity exercises burn more carbs and calories. I recommend implementing a workout routine that uses both of these factors, in low intensity and medium to high intensity. But you can't do both at the same time. If you are using moderate to high intensity exercises, you can't sustain that for long periods. And by using low intensity, such as hiking, you can go for a longer duration. So when you're looking at your workout routine, look to incorporate both of these, mix them up. Because this is probably going to be more where you're doing weightlifting, and this is probably going to be where you're doing more cardio. But look at doing both systems. They're very important to incorporate. Now to our final point, exercising. And you can't just do cardio. You need to go to the gym and lift weights. Strength training helps you lose weight and keep it off by building muscle tissue. The more muscle mass you have, the higher your metabolic rate tends to be. And more muscle also helps your body burn more fat versus, say, burning the muscle, which is important if you want to lose weight and keep your strength. The first focus for weightlifting is to perform compound movements. A compound exercise uses several muscle groups collaboratively to perform a movement, such as a squat, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, or barbell rows. These are the type of movements you want to start out with. I wouldn't worry about your core or abs at this point. You won't lose weight doing so. I would also look to find a cardio exercise you like and simultaneously perform the cardio the same week or within the weightlifting routine. The seated rower, I think, is a great exercise for cardio versus, say, an indoor bike. It burns 25% more calories than a bike, and you also work your upper body. I'm also not a fan of the stair climber unless it's real stairs. When you use a stair climber, it's helping you on the way down on the movement, so it's not as good as using real stairs. So look for a cardio exercise that you feel comfortable with. It could be jogging, running, hiking, whatever it may be, but you want to look at mixing that in for that low intensity part along with the high intensity part of exercising. Later in this video, I'll show you some examples of compound movements, supersets, and drop sets. I wouldn't expect you to be as mobile or as strong in the first couple of weeks as you will be in the coming months. So start out learning the movement and perform 1 or 2 sets with 8 to 12 reps per workout session. And then after a few weeks, you would increase the sets to 4 and or mix in some supersets and drop sets. By the second month, I would look to incorporate some balance and plyometric exercises as well. And then by late in the second month, or beginning in month 3, you can start to incorporate exercises for the smaller muscle groups, such as your biceps and triceps. So here are some examples of some compound exercises, supersets, drop sets, plyometric, and balance exercises. And again, start out slowly and work your way up. So, are you ready to get fit, healthy, and at your best? Let's do it.